TGR.
Yo, what's up? It's Rudy! And by the power of the internet gods, we have this beautiful, amazing...
It's your boy, Onyx Kid. Ciao. Okay.
That was cool. Totally unexpected. What is up, guys? It has been a hell of a week, and there's just all sorts of craziness that happened throughout the week, but today, some crazy stuff happened. All the timestamps are going to be below. I feel like we should just get into it, dude. Let's
get into it.
Let's just get into it, man. So, a few weeks ago, we talked about EA investors wanting to go ahead and investigate why the CEOs and executives are making as much money as they are. Turns out that the rest of the shareholders agree. As of 3 days ago, EA shareholders vote against giving executives more raises and bonuses. In an unusual move, EA shareholders vote against awarding the company's executives a proposed increase in compensation after a great first quarter. Now, kudos to the shareholders for actually giving them the big thumb, because I mean, dude, I am just I
mean, we somehow, some way got a victory. Rich people are still rich and poor people are still being made poor by capitalism, but this is good. This is a step in the right direction. I'm glad that people saw that these CEOs are just so overpaid. Andrew Wilson and Bobby Kotick from Activision are very, very overpaid. Like I said, Andrew Wilson and Bobby Kotick are very, very overpaid. The most overpaid CEOs in America. So we're over the minute mark, right?
Sure.
Fuck them.
Yeah, dude, I agree with you, man. Andrew Wilson, he makes $21 million in compensation for 2020. Come on, man, get the fuck out of here. Dude,
he's
seriously?
rich. The dude's already rich.
What do you do with 21 million in 1 year? And he's been CEO for how many years? Come on.
It's ridiculous the amount of money that these guys make, and I get it, running a company, yada yada, but I'm glad we have this victory.
Yeah, but when you have the CEO of Take-Two that makes $100,000 a year, come on, get out of here, man.
Damn, really? The CEO of Take-Two only makes that much?
Yeah, dude. He makes
for this year.
For this year, 100,000. Everybody else is making millions. But it was oh, let me go ahead and take this. And I'll put a link down below so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, dude, it's one of those things that I was just wow, that's... And even
that's
Nintendo,
and you remember Nintendo too, when they came out with their CEOs and even Shigeru Miyamoto, I think he barely breaks 1 million, which, I mean, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's not 23 million.
Exactly.
I don't know. But yeah, no, I definitely am very happy with the investors actually making a move to take, saying no and being dude, what the hell's the matter with you? You make enough.
No, absolutely. It's a victory for the good people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, in sadder news, Xbox, Chris Lee, who's the studio head over at Halo Infinite and 343 Industries, I'm sorry, they went ahead and they released a statement on Twitter essentially saying that Halo Infinite is delayed until 2021. Now, I don't know if this is in response to the backlash from the gaming community, man. I mean,
I think it's a combination of everything.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that it's a combination of the global situation, or
correct.
Like I said, the Game Grumps call it the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. God damn it, Backstreet Boys. It's a combination of that mixed with, there is some issues at 343. There are issues.
Oh, yeah.
With this. I believe one of the lead developers left the company, a year and a half ago or something like that.
Right.
There's a lot of issues going on in terms of development. And I mean, from what it looks like, this looked a little rushed.
Yeah.
We saw Poppet in that reveal.
Totally.
Yes, it was an early, demo. It's not the latest stuff, but it looked rough. Yeah. I think the game needs more time in the oven. And like Miyamoto once said, something delay a game is good.
Yes, that's exactly it. Thanks, Miyamoto. Exactly. Something.
Yeah, thank you. So, let them take their time.
Yeah,
I want Halo Infinite to be a return to form. I saw a tweet by one of these. One, I think he was an influencer, I believe, or I forget who he was, but it's like a gaming community individual, and he stated that Halo Infinite brought him back to the feels of Halo 1 of Combat Evolved, and
that's big.
Yeah, I want that. I want Infinite to succeed based on those merits. I want people to enjoy Combat Evolved, or to think of Combat Evolved, just because it was just such a landmark title.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. No, I agree with you,
I
man.
want it to succeed. Yeah.
For sure, man. Like, I agree with you. Like, I want it to succeed. What the hell is wrong with having a good game? Like, I feel like
nothing.
There's been like, and this is slightly off topic, but there's been a lot of like wishy-washy behavior between, the Sony fanboys and the Xbox fanboys. And like, for me, like, I'm just like, dude, like, this is a result of like, this is impacting everyone. COVID-19 is impacting everyone. And like, yes, this did not look as polished as it should have. But despite everything else, but in my opinion, like it sucks that that this even happened. So I don't know, man.
No, yeah, and every new generation, I feel like there's like a big amount of like fanboys coming out,
right?
And you got to think about it. So when 360 came out and the PS3, I feel like that was when we were at the forefront of those fanboy wars, right? The console wars. And it kind of died down with PS4 and Xbox One to an extent. When they were first coming out, it was like, oh, the Xbox One is clearly the weaker console, yada yada, no games, no exclusives. But it kind of died down for a bit. And now, we're talking about 7 years later. Now we have all these kids that were 8, 9 years old when the PS3 and the Xbox One came out.
Yeah,
they're teens. They have access to the internet, obviously, and they are now very, very, very vocal. Right. So, yeah, we're gonna hear it a lot more. For sure.
Like for me,
the pettiness is there.
I don't care. Like I'm just like I'd rather them succeed and actually like do well than not at all. Competition is good for all of us.
Exactly.
But like I want them to succeed more than anything else. The next thing, and guys, if you're sensitive to rumors or whatever leaks whatever the hell you want to call it, we'll go ahead and we'll put a timestamp down below, or we'll go ahead and do the whole chapters thing so you can fast forward.
Even though this is not really like it's not spoiling something that's going to come out or anything like that. It's just more of an insider talking about the possibility of a console performing, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably better wording than anything else. Anyway, so Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dusk Golem, or Golem, I don't even know. Golem on Twitter, he went ahead and tweeted something that Onyx wanted to share, and actually, like, it holds a lot of, I guess, weight behind it. He goes out and says, I'm going to hate myself later for responding to this. I can feel it. People attracted to this sort of topic are horribly toxic, but a lot of people misinterpreted what I said, which is partially my fault. Of course, RE8 will run fine on launch. That was never in question by me. But people should get ready for the real possibility that the PS5 is going to end up being the more expensive console between the two. I'm trying not to say much here, as I was asked not to, but prepare yourself, which does put Xbox X in a position. It'll be the less expensive and more powerful console. I use RE8 as an example, but I've heard from other devs that PS5 struggles with 4K games in particular, so you'll see a lot of fake 4K. Oof, that doesn't matter to some, but get ready for that. Xbox X doesn't have the same problem. Holy shit.
Yep, and just some insight real quick. So Dusk Golem is an insider. He actually is a game developer. He works for Yai Gameworks. And he's been known to kind of sometimes throw out a rumor here, throw out a leak there. I'll talk a little bit. And so when I saw this on Reset Era, I kind of I was taken aback. I'm like, oh crap, like that's kind of huge, right? But so Xbox X, I'm glad that it has 12 teraflops of power. I'm 100% know that it's going to hit that native 4K, which is rough. Getting native 4K is pretty intensive on a lot of these units and consoles.
Oh yeah.
And when he says fake 4K, it's more. It could possibly be that checkerboard thing,
right?
Where like it's not native, but it's still technically a 4K image,
right?
We could also see a lot of the variable resolution where it'll target 4K, it'll go to 4K, and then kind of change depending on what's going on screen.
Right.
You may not notice it. It might drop to like 1440p. You may not notice it, but it might fluctuate. But yeah, kind of crazy that he's also saying though, the PS5 not being able to push 4K is one thing, but the fact that he's saying it's gonna be more expensive, and it's still not gonna be able to do that, that's a little worrying.
Yes, I agree with you, man, because one of the things is that, like, to me, Xbox has always been like, we don't care about price. We want to go ahead and make things as close to 4K, if not, perfect 4K, which they've been able to do with the One X. Right. That's one thing that I'm just like, that's power. And if people really truly want native 4K, they're willing to pay for it. Now, if PS5 can't do that, man, that sucks. That spells disaster. The more expensive console, the lesser powerful console. It's almost as if Sony and Xbox just switched sides.
They did. I mean, because you got to remember though, it's kind of been flip floppy in a way. In the 8th generation of consoles, that was the PS2, Xbox, OG, and GameCube. The most powerful one back then was the Xbox. Yeah, it had more RAM, it had a better GPU and stuff. The PS2 was actually the weakest. GameCube was in the middle. So it's been kind of weird. The PS2 was the best-selling console of the time, the best-selling console ever, I believe. Yeah. Still, I think so. So, it doesn't always matter to have the most powerful console, right? Especially when we're talking resolution. And I know some people will say resolution matters more than anything else. In my personal opinion, if I can see better textures, better lighting, better effects at 1080p or even 1440p, I'll take it. I'll take frames any day. And that's the other thing.
For me personally, I will take frames any day.
Especially now that you're a 144 hertz convert, man.
I love it, man. It's so smooth, so buttery smooth.
I'm telling you. And once, thank you, JD. I'm pretty sure the PS5. Yeah, seriously, thank you, JD. But I'm pretty sure the PS5 is going to do 120 FPS. So when people get used to that, I personally feel like a lot more people are going to be on the frame rate aspect because it's so much more smoother. 4K looks amazing. That's a crisp image. I love it in screenshots. I don't care when it's moving. My personal opinion. Yeah, no. I know a lot of people won't agree, but yeah.
No, man. I'm 100% right there with you, man. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
So again, it does suck because I don't want to pay for an expensive console when it's not the most powerful. Right. But at the same time, like, I'm buying into the Sony ecosystem, if you want to call it that, because of the exclusives. That's why I buy PlayStation. So
yeah. Well, I mean, if I want to play Xbox games, I have this PC that's here.
And I'm telling you, people are saying the next generation console for Microsoft is not actually the One X.
No,
it's the Game Series X. It's Game Pass.
It's Game Pass. Like if you don't see that, like there's a reason why multiple, and man, this is so off topic. Fuck. But there's a reason that like so many companies have moved to a subscription-based model. It's because it makes money. And then as a consumer, I don't own anything. I'm just paying for a temporary monthly license to view whatever content or consume whatever content you have. Oh man, like people I don't know. That's just it's.
And dude, and this is the thing too about Game Pass. So people are like, yeah, Game Pass, whatever. So on PC right now, on the beta, it's $5 a month. Yep. Right. On normally it's $10 a month, $9.99. Right. And then Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is what, $15 a month, I believe.
I think so. I'm not sure.
And that includes Xbox Live as well.
And Ultimate. Project X Cloud now.
Right. So $15. But let's just throw out an average here, $7 between all three of those tiers. Right. And I think last time they said they had 10 million users.
That was a few months ago. I think like June or July that they said that.
So that means that every month, 10 million people on average are going to be getting charged $7. That's $70 million a month. Granted, it's not net profits. Yeah. They got to disperse that throughout. Right. That's still $70 million a month. Yep. Even if they take 20% of that, we're talking what, like $15-20 million that
Yep.
they're going to be taking to their pocket every month. That's $200 million of possible net profit in a year. That's insane. That's money, dude. That's their next generation console, and they're laughing to the bank, dude. They're not worried. They don't care if the Xbox Series X is cheaper than the PS5. They don't care if it sells less units. As long as they have Game Pass and as long as that number grows, they're taking that to the bank.
Yep. And it's like
to the bank.
One of the things that Nico brought this up on Discord. Nico, shout out for you, bro. He's one of our patrons. Cool dude. But he went ahead and he said that he sees Xbox going and saying, hey, if you buy an Xbox One, or I'm sorry, an Xbox Series X, you get 1 year of Game Pass for free. So think about it.
That'd be wild.
Think about it, though. They lose 1 year of profit, but then there's potentially 6 to 7 years of profit.
Ooh.
Later on. So that's a bet, but that's what they did with Xbox Live back in the day, no?
Like pack it in with a console? No.
They never did that.
No, I literally bought my Xbox. Or no. My original Xbox was gifted to my brother, actually.
Yeah.
So we had it at the home, but it was his technically. And I remember going to Puerto Rico during one summer to visit my dad.
Right.
And I like Xbox Live literally came out that summer, and I bought the subscription. It was I think it was like $50 for a year. I remember. And I brought that home. I obviously just put in the code, created my account, etc. Boom, and I had it for a year. And then they raised up the price to 60 when we had the 360.
Of course.
So yeah. So it was always there. Like, I don't think they ever bundled it with a console. They did give away. They used to give away a shit ton of like 3 months trials with games. Yeah. Like I remember, like any Xbox exclusive, like Halo 3 or even like anything that used multiplayer.
Right.
Used to come with 3 month cards
right.
in the games. And eventually it was so sad, like during the Xbox One days it dropped to like 1 day trial cards and shit. It was like y'all were so like cool back in the day, and now you're like really greedy, but now they're switching it around, man. Phil Spencer really came in and changed things up for them.
Very pro consumer, man, for sure. Speaking of pro consumer tactics,
way off topic, but we're gonna finish strong here, guys, because this is some crazy ass news.
So this actually happened today. We are recording. It's Thursday, August 13th. It's 7:53. We should be streaming in like 10 minutes or whatever. But so this is from The Verge. Epic Games is suing Apple. The reason why they're suing Apple is because Epic has filed a civil antitrust lawsuit following Apple's removal of Fortnite from the App Store. Now, just to go ahead and add on to that, Google Play has done the same thing. Google Play doesn't necessarily matter, at least for me, because you can technically sideload anything onto any Android piece of hardware. All right, guys, we just finished streaming Zone of the Enders 1 and the beginning of Zone of the Enders 2, and there's a little bit of an update in regards to the story that we just talked about. Turns out that Epic is also going after Google for monopolistic practices in regards to Android as well. They are essentially saying that Google is enforcing anti-competitive restrictions against app developers. Specifically, Google contractually prohibits app developers from offering on the Google Play Store any app that could be used to download other apps, i.e., and any app that could compete with the Google Play Store in app distribution. Any Google further requires app developers to distribute their apps through the Google Play Store if they wish to advertise their app through valuable advertising channels controlled by Google, such as ad placements on Google Search or on YouTube that are specifically optimized to advertise to mobile apps. Now, this is something that kind of goes in line with the monopolistic approach that Apple has in regards to their store. This is very, very interesting. Essentially, Epic is not seeking any sort of compensation, kind of how we said earlier, but they're really just trying to fight the monopolistic approach that both of these platforms have. We'll see how it goes. I still agree that they're doing the right thing in regards to the profit sharing that goes in regards to the owners of the stores, typically 30%. But we'll see how it goes ahead and goes. But let's go ahead and keep on going with what we recorded earlier. But the reason why they're doing this is, long story short, and they're not seeking money. That's one thing that I have to go ahead and get out of the way. Like, they're not seeking monetary compensation. And this is quoted. It says, Epic is not seeking monetary compensation from this court for the injuries it has suffered, nor is Epic seeking favorable treatment for itself, a single company. Instead, Epic is seeking injunction relief to allow fair competition in these two key markets that directly affect hundreds of millions of consumers and tens of thousands, if not more, of third-party app developers. Now, I don't like Apple. I've never liked Apple. I'll be 100% like, dude, you talk to any one of my personal friends, like including Onyx, because at one point he was trying to get me to buy an iPhone. I genuinely dislike Apple. And the reason why I dislike Apple is because they have an Apple ecosystem and it's very high.
And they want you in there, man.
Exactly.
They want you in there.
Exactly. It's a very, we have this high walled garden and you can come in for a price. In this case, it's 30% of all of the revenue that goes to Epic. So Epic, there's a lot of people, and in this article, there's a page where you can actually see the actual filing of the lawsuit. So you can see
65 pages.
It's intense, but you can go ahead and see it. And I've tweeted this earlier throughout the day. It's actually kind of ironic because in 1984, Apple was the underdog. I don't know if you remember this, Onyx, but there was.
I don't. I saw it mentioned.
There's this ad that was placed, and if I can find the footage, I'll play it over. There's this ad that was played where everybody is paying attention, and it's a very dictator-esque sort of presentation, and someone comes in with a hammer and goes ahead and throws the hammer on the screen. It breaks, it explodes, and it ends with the Apple logo. Very symbolic for its time to kind of break out of, for lack of a better term, cyberpunk-esque sort of futuristic environment where everything is given to corporate demigods, so to speak. And it's very ironic that Apple, not even 40 years later, is doing that same exact thing. They are literally trying to go ahead and have a monopolistic grapple in regards to the application market. I don't agree with how this is going on. I'm actually very, very against it. I think that, and I like, dude, do you have anything to say? Because I can like keep on rambling, man.
I mean, what I want to say is this: like, I'm with you. Obviously, I don't agree with it either because Apple and Google take 30% of all these sales. But this doesn't just apply to phone markets. I also don't like that Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, that they take 30% of sales either. I get it; they got to make their money somehow.
Right.
But developers deserve more money. That 30% doesn't go to developers.
No.
You know what I mean? Developers make a very, very small fraction. That goes in part with our first article. Or our first news story where we're talking about the EA executives, those millions of dollars that they were getting in bonuses, a lot of that comes from that 30% cut. Now, well, granted, obviously EA is not a hardware publisher.
No.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, executives make most of that money.
Yeah.
So for this 30% cut, Apple and Google both make a lot of money on the hardware alone. They don't need 30%.
I agree.
And it's crazy for me to say this, but I almost am siding with the Epic Corporation. it's still a corporation at the end of the day, but
I am as well because this isn't just for them. It sets precedent.
No,
it sets
absolutely.
It sets precedent for the rest of the market because let's face it, Epic is freaking huge. Epic is humongous. Like smaller companies, they can't do what these guys are doing. Like
absolutely not. And also, I do want to take a second to remind everyone that Epic does force crunch under developers. So for that, I will never put them on any like pedestal or anything like that. Epic is just as guilty of doing shit to people. But in this particular case of them versus Apple, now versus Google, 100%, they are going against a monopoly in this marketplace.
Oh, yes.
And I would love them to crush it.
Oh, yeah. I 100%, because like this, like I said, sets precedent for an indie developer, like somebody like Toby Fox. It's just like a one-man team that goes ahead and creates something and, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know how I feel. I'm very like
No, for sure. So hopefully this I also don't want to have a shit ton of marketplaces either on my devices. Like I want it to be curated,
like the
because
Samsung
curating
marketplace, the Amazon marketplace, and all that other stuff.
Exactly, because right now, if you want to get like most of the legit apps on your phone, you either got to have the Play Store.
Yes.
Now we're talking about Android. Play Store. There's some on the Amazon App Store.
Right.
But that's kind of it. I mean, there may be a few other smaller ones, but that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
On iOS though, you're fucked. You don't even have. I don't even think you can get the Amazon App Store on iOS.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, and honestly, like you said earlier, they are very get into our ecosystem, but I mean they're very anti-consumer. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
Like I myself have had personal experience where I've recorded footage on an iPhone, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna drop it to my computer, and it was the biggest hassle to get that footage on my computer. If I had iCloud, if I had an iMac or whatever the fuck
MacBook
called,
or an iMac,
yeah. Like it would have been great.
Or
It would have been easy
Mac
peasy lemon squeezy, but no, it was not. So,
yeah.
bump that. I hope that these corporations duke it out and the consumer wins at the end.
Yep, that's exactly what I want, and that the developers win, man. I just hope that the developers win. That's all I want. More money for the devs.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
So yeah, guys, that is our weekly resume. I know that it was a little bit longer than other ones, but there was a lot of hot topics, and I feel like there was a lot of things that I and Onyx and I wanted to go ahead and talk about. Like it's just these are important things in regards to our industry, like and moving forward. Like I said, setting precedent for a lot of things and getting things situated. But there's my cat.
Okay.
But anyways, guys. Obviously, YouTube show stuff, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on everything. Everything's at the Gaming Resume, and yeah, man. I guess we'll see you on the next one.
See you in the next one, guys. Later.
Dishes.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more and stay up to date, subscribe, hit the little bell, and join our Discord.
If you want to support the channel, please check out our Patreon or hit the join button below. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.